Good morning, Mark. Mark Bryan from the FSB. Lovely to have you with us this morning. Start off, Mark, please, by telling us a little bit about what it is you do.
Okay. Well, morning, Bev. Thank you
Morning.
for inviting me to this interview this morning. Appreciate it. So a little bit about what I do is, I meet and speak with business owners on a daily basis, and I find out about their business, find out about their challenges, successes, and talk to them about the different ways that the FSB can support them in achieving their goals.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been a formal advocate, ambassador, if you like, or membership advisor of the Federation of Small Business for nearly a year. Okay. But I've been a member myself for nearly 12 years.
Wow. That's great. So who would you say your ideal client is then, your ideal customer?
Well, that's a good question. The automatic response is anybody who's running a business, okay?
Yeah.
That is true because we support sole traders, we support business owners, whether they're employing staff or not. That said, anyone who's running a business who's employing staff can benefit and from membership of the FSB, to a much greater extent.
Okay. Yeah. So that sounds really, really good. So something for everybody, really.
Yeah, that's right. It can be business owners, it can be sole traders, limited companies, but it's also charities and CICs. I'm supporting a couple of charities at the moment. Merseyside Youth Support Trust is a big one, and a couple of others in the region.
Okay, that's fantastic. And what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business today?
That's a good question as well. I would say plan for a period without a regular income. I'd say in general, I'd plan, set goals, and targets. Yeah, I think plan, definitely.
Okay, and why do you think that's the most important thing?
Because I've been involved in a number of businesses. I've run a number of businesses, from smaller businesses to medium-sized business up to a £10 million turnover business with in excess of 250 staff. And in the early planning stage of starting any business, projections can sometimes be optimistic. Sometimes projections can be over optimistic. But I think definitely though, goal setting, planning of any type, and planning and budgeting, I think are the two key for me. Okay.
That's fantastic. So keeping it real, really, isn't it? And keeping your finger on the ball with it. Yeah. Okay, I get that. And if you could go back in time to when you were a mere 18 years old, what would you say to yourself about your future at that point? What advice would you give yourself?
Don't take some things too seriously, but take others more seriously. And mostly set and focus on goals you can achieve more than you think. I went back to university after a serious illness in my mid-20s, having left school, not feeling like I was overly academic or could really overachieve in that sort of area. And I went back. Well, I went to college first, and then I went on to university as a mature student. So I was working full time, and achieved a business degree at John Moores University, business studies degree, which really did give me a lot of confidence, and was really the start, really, of a change in the direction of my career, and
Wow,
led me to do a couple of the roles that took me to where I am now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that would lead me on quite nicely to, what are your biggest learnings in life and in business?
Biggest learnings. I think goal setting is a big one. The value of goal setting, and focus on achieving your goals, and focusing on your own goals. But I think something that comes to mind, and I hope it fits in, is because post-degree, I've completed the lead course at Lancaster University and the goal programme. I think if I develop, my business develops.
Yeah.
Hopefully that fits in and that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the biggest issues you've had to overcome in business?
Well, there's always ups and downs, but to some extent, looking back, I see them as just for what they are. They are just ups and downs that we all face in business. But the biggest challenges, I think, is illness and loss. I'd say in my life, maybe serious illness was a big challenge, and the importance of health. From my mid-20s, the importance of looking after my health became probably my top priority, and probably still is to some extent. Today.
I was going to say, yeah, I would agree with that in terms of what I've seen of you, through other networking and everything, that you are Mr. Let's keep it clean, keep it. Yeah, I've seen that. So you're a good advocate for that, aren't you?
Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Looking after ourselves first and foremost.
Yeah. Well, occasionally, somebody said to me, I don't know, at a networking event when I'm choosing my non-bread option, which you know me for, Bev, and people say to me, you look fit and healthy. You can afford to eat. Yeah. But it's by a more healthy lifestyle being a routine that keeps me fit and healthy, if that makes sense. If you start letting things, you start including things into your daily routine, I'll soon not be fit and healthy. But I don't want to be overly, but you'll understand now, because I went through a pretty serious illness in my early 20s. You can probably understand now where that comes from.
Absolutely, and I completely get that. Yeah, and credit to you for maintaining that approach, because that can be difficult for people sometimes, and it's the same in business, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so who most inspires you today? Do you have an inspirational person?
The late John Haynes inspired me a great deal. I worked with John for nearly 8 years, and he was a mentor to me, and he was also, I invited him into the business that I was running at the time to coach, mentor, and support the managers within the business I was running. So the late John Haynes, I would say definitely. Other than that, because of some of the events and some of the things I've been sort of getting involved in recently through the Liverpool City region, Steve Rotherham. Steve Rotherham.
Okay, and what's Steve Rotherham's role, if you just want to remind everybody?
Steve Rotherham, Metro Mayor for Liverpool. Also Andy Burnham,
Yeah.
from Manchester. But I've seen Steve recently talking at a few events on a number of different issues, sustainability, mental health and work. He's involved in supporting a lot of the key issues in the city region.
Okay, well, that's great. And it's great that you've got local people that are inspiring you rather than global thought leaders or whatever. I mean, I think that becomes more realistic, doesn't it, when people are local?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to have a 5-minute chat with Steve at the Mental Health and Work Summit, which I spoke at in the afternoon. And I'd seen his, his presence on social media and in the news and things like that. But stopping on a 5-minute chat with him, yeah, I'd say I was inspired from that conversation.
Brilliant. That's really, really, really good to hear. And probably just to finish off for today, do you have any inspirational quotes that you refer to that you like to think about? Obviously we talk about well-being and keeping focused on plans. Is there anything that you use yourself?
I often find myself saying in many one-to-ones that I find some way of fitting this in. I don't intentionally do it, but it comes out. Fair trade is no robbery. I often find myself saying fair trade is no robbery. I think I came across the saying. It exists, or I found it in legal circles. It often is used as during the test in terms of judging certain situations. Cost and value don't come into it, but if there's a fair trade, if two people are exchanging something for something, it's no robbery. It's a fair exchange. But often I think it's multifaceted. Fair exchange, it can be, am I getting as much as I'm giving? But that can be not just monetary related, because if I'm giving you my time, which I volunteer my time, at times, and I do, and I get involved in supporting some local charities, am I getting, sometimes what I'm getting isn't a monetary reward, sometimes it's personal development, it's opening my perspective and awareness of other things that are going on. So I think multifaceted, fair trade is no robbery is a quote that sometimes I find myself saying on a number of different levels, if that's okay.
And that's brilliant. I've not really heard it before, so it's good, to get something new that somebody's using. So that's fantastic. I'm sure you've not used it with me previously.
We had a one-to-one and it was a fair trade. I hopefully, certainly from my perspective, at the time that I gave was certainly more than worth the value that I got from your time. And I can only hope and trust that it was the same for you.
It was the same for me, but I don't recall you using the terminology in our
meeting. Yeah, I probably did. Yeah, I don't think it did actually. I don't think it did. Yeah. I think I'll let you get away with that. That one.
Yeah.
Because it comes with some explanation, you see.
Absolutely.
We were on the clock.
We were. Anyway, thanks ever so much, Mark. That concludes the interview for today. Thank you very much for your time. So, interview terminated. Right. We okay with that?
Yeah. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, it goes away and somebody will edit it and it'll all look great. So that's fine with me. You got your bits across about what you do and everything, so that's really, really cool. So I mean, it's
genuinely, while we're not on the tape, genuinely, so I've said it twice now, and I think there's pluses and minuses to this. I'm sure I go into businesses and genuinely I want to talk to them about it. I'm really interested in what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, and genuinely, if I can help them, support them, I will introduce the elements that I think does support them. They call the role that I fulfill a membership advisor. And yeah, I do like to try and give advice. I do like to try and do that on a sort of discussion, listen, and sort of direct. I don't go in on any type of level of trying to sell anyone anything. I genuinely don't. Genuinely, I'm not from sales, you see, as you know.
And I get that. Yeah,
from running businesses. And
yeah.
I think if I had somebody coming into me, I wouldn't want someone coming in with the old fashioned trying to sell me something. I would want them to try and help me, and that's what I do, for better or for worse. And and
that comes across. It's brilliant. You the way you are, your rapport and everything with people. You're very calming. Very professional, very friendly, and that probably puts a lot of people at ease when they're talking to you, doesn't it? Yeah. So you'll get a copy of the newsletter when it's done. I don't know how long it'll take. It could be a few weeks yet for them to do the editing. So as soon as the editing's done, you'll get your copy of that. It'll go into the newsletter. You can do, as I say, what you'd like, whatever you want to do with it, whether you want to share it or whether you don't, but we'll be sharing it, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, Bev, absolutely. You'll be getting a really good testimonial, etc. Or,
Yeah, that's brilliant. So do you want to schedule a 20-minute strategy call? Is there anything you want to talk specifically with me to help you or not?
Let's see, issues.
I mean, I know we're seeing one another regularly anyway, but if you want to, we can get something booked in. If you don't, then we can pick it up when we next see one another.